let's start. I'm very excited. Thank you, Phileas, for inviting me. Yeah, so basically, this GCP sharing it's not going to be about, oh, there is new things, or this is a disclaimer. So there won't be any new magic, or there won't be any magic. It's just something that I did um, from my experience, that I something that didn't work before, but then I figured it out and then it worked. So yeah, also I will be sharing with you some of the GCP from the entities that I am working with in iGV at the moment. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So yeah, let's go. So the first one, um, for us, at least in iGV, is that for the ones that are approving like longer than 6 months, um, I think it's also the same, like, because everyone's visa is work the same thing, I guess. But because of that, like, usually when you are applying for visa, you cannot uh, go longer than, no, wait, you need to go within 3 months or 6 months from the time you are applying for the visa, if you get what I mean. So yeah, so the first, my very very important um, notice here is that why I put it in number one, because this is something that usually our EP or our members or us as MCVP are not aware of. So if you are having any approvals that are takes longer than 6 months upon their realization, so make sure that you have a time, or you have a timeline, or make sure that your LCVP has a timeline on when they should apply for visa, because sometimes some EP may not be understand, or they don't really know how does it work. So for me, it's very important, because sometimes if you forget about this, then it can also affect in a long run. Yeah, like in the beginning, you have, like, you think like, oh yeah, I have 6 months, but then you forget about this, then it's gonna be chaotic. So yeah, first thing is to definitely check with your EP's visa and your country regulations, if it's 3 months or 6 months. And then the second one is, definitely, this is like very obvious, EP engagement. But why I said it's very obvious is that we all know that we need to do it, but at the same time, there are a lot of LCVP or entities that are actually deprioritizing it. But at the same time, this is like the most simplest thing that you can try with your entity, and your LCVP can do with their members. So if you see on the right side, there is GCP from Indonesia. So this is their, what do they call it? A rifle package. So they have this poster posted every single week or every single month, if I'm not mistaken. But they have like a schedule on when do they send this poster to their EPs in their group, so that the EPs that are going to come in summer peak, they don't feel like they are not engaged, or they don't feel like they are left out. Although their realization is still like 5 months ahead, but they are still engaged with, like, what is Indonesia, or as simple as what do they have in Indonesia, or how many people are in Indonesia, so that they are very excited to go for the exchange. Yes. So the third one, I think, is that a lot of cases in my case as IGV, is that a lot of EPs that they are having right now that are approved are being approved by their predecessor. So most of the times is that when a predecessor, like, already end their term and there's new people coming, like, they know like in theory or in number how many approval that I have, but they're not really aware of, okay, so I have this approved, what do I do? Yeah, so the transition, like, how is the transition going? Not only that, okay, this is the number, blah blah, blah, and then leave, but what are the things that they have been doing to engage to EP, and what should the elects do when it comes to nurturing the EP until they are arriving to your internships. Yeah. So yeah, that's for HR allocation. So make sure that there are someone that is responsible to engage with the EP at least. And then the next one is Phileas is the master of this. I learned a lot from her. Is to do a projection, because I think this is the least that MC can do, is to make sure that you are keeping up with the numbers that you have, and then translate that into like an action steps for your LCVP. Because I think that they might be aware that, okay, I have this amount of people, but they might not understand, like, okay, with this amount of people, for example, if you have 30 approval right now, that will be realized in July, um, we might have the assumption of, like, oh yeah, okay, they know what are the things that they have to do, but every country is different, every entity is different, every IR is different, and the way you engage it is also needs to be different. So that's why projection based on where they're from, what kind of visa do they need, what is the visa regulations, what is the documents that they need for the visa, is also very, very important. So do projection as detailed as you can, so that you can also provide the best preparation for your EPs. Yep. Do I have more? Yes. So this is the last one. So for the last one, is very obvious, is to have standards delivery tracker, I would say, or audit, whatever you call it in your entity. But for me, when I was an MCVP last year in Malaysia, these are all the challenges that I faced when it comes to cross-peak approval. No, cross-peak realization or approval. Anyways, cross-peak approval. The first one that I personally faced was members didn't really prioritize standards delivery, because they think they have time. So they're like, yeah, they're coming in 6 months, so I have time. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna like drink tea and not doing anything. Then when the time comes, then they were like, oh my god, they don't have accommodations, or shit, they don't have insurance, so they cannot issue their visa, this kind of stuff. So that's first. Second is that no transition from the last generation of LCVP to the new one, so they are not aware of, okay, so I know the number, as I said, I know the number, but I don't really know what I need to do. The third one is that the EPs are not engaged and eventually dropped the internship, because they feel like no one is talking to me, so I don't know what is going on with the project anymore. Because if, of course, like the EP could have asked you, or the EP can be proactively engaged with the members, but then again, EPs are like strangers; they are not ISECers, so they won't be having that mindset of approaching you first, because they are, again, our customers. So yeah, they don't feel engaged, so they drop the internship. In my case, it was the project. And the last one was that the EP does not have the sense of urgency to apply for visa, apply for insurance, buy flight ticket, because maybe they don't know how complicated it is to apply for a visa to a country, or they don't understand like what are what type of documents that they need to collect before they actually go for an exchange. It actually happened in Malaysia. Like I think I had two EPs that couldn't come to Malaysia because of the visa, and it was as simple as bank statement. So they didn't have that, so then they missed the whole realization. So which was not really good lah. Yeah, so those are the four foreseeable challenges that maybe you can also have. In my case, I had it. So don't be like Gina. Be a better person. So I think this is my personal learnings and my suggestions, if I can do that to you. So my suggestions for you is this standards checklist or tracker is already in all you need. So you can just go there and steal the tools, and then edit the way you want it. So this is the simplest one. For me, it worked. So the first one for me was to standardize the deadline for your members on when they should do what. For example, personal goal setting. So in my case, I was iGV. So when do you expect OGV to deliver the personal goal setting so that us as iGV understand that, okay, so this EP's personal goal setting is this, so that we can embed into our IPS, for example. Or for cross peak approval, let's take here insurance. So when do the OGV plan to educate the EP on how to apply for insurance, for example? So the link here is can be proof, or link here can be pictures on the files or on the documents that is stated on the standards. Yeah, and then the next one is to always check with your LCVP's progress patiently. And why I said patiently is because it's a lot of thing. And then if you are rushing it, or if you are pressuring your LCVPs, they might also be very burnout. That is what happened with me at least for a bit. So they were frustrated because like everyone is tracking them and everything. So be patient, because you have 5 months. I mean, it's important to raise the awareness, but not pushing them. The next one, I think for me, is that what is obvious to you may definitely not obvious for them. So if you think that, personal goal setting, I mean, you need to do it, no? Because it's in the standard. But for LCP or for members, it may not be the case. So kill your assumptions on, they already know. So don't do that. So always ask them like, hey, making sure that they know, or making sure that they are aware, because it's better to educate them again rather than not educating it at all, I think, in my opinion. And then the last one is a simple tracker won't hurt or won't be too much. It's like this, like ask them to upload some proof or upload a picture, and put it in your R&R, for example. Hey, this LC is delivering this, yay, congratulations, or things like that. It can also, for me, it helped last time. So I think that is everything. So the last message I think that worked with me and my commission last time was that to translate those numbers into a real person's life, because when you have this in your mind, we are changing the way of how we see those numbers, like approved to realize, into a responsibility or into a sense of ownership on what they are actually doing here. Because number of approval doesn't mean anything if you don't make sure that they are realizing their experience in the end. So I think that would be everything from my side. Do you have any questions?